What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam coming back at you with another Chaos to Come Back update. Things are going all right. I was really excited on Sunday morning because somebody left a comment because I talk about this bathtub at this place being really deep, and it's comfy, it's deep, it's nice. It's the nicest bathtub I've been able to sit in since I got out of the joint, and just soak my weary bones. And it's a miracle. It's a miracle worker. I mean, there was another time, and this was a while ago, that I had access to a deep bathtub in my house. This one was it was an older style cast iron tub. It was a square. It looked like a regular bathtub, but the thing was deep. It was a beast. And it was a very welcome thing in the house because, when you work out and you're an athlete, that is a significant help in order to, get over all the muscle fatigue and stuff that you go through. And so somebody suggested getting some Epsom salts. And I was like, that sounds like a plan. I went on Amazon and just started looking, and the bags of Epsom salt, the Amazon brand, they're like, you can get it delivered same day, today. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Sunday. I'm going to do bicycle maintenance today, and by the time I'm done working on the bikes, I'm going to be soaking in the tub. Booyah. So I got Epsom salts, baking soda, because they work together. I got some eucalyptus oil, essential oil. Eucalyptus is good. It'll clear up your sinuses. It'll help you breathe better. You put some drops of that in with the water. And I got some incense in an incense burner because I don't have anything to hold the incense. So I had all this stuff queued up, and everything that I added to the order was same day delivery between 2 and 4 p.m. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a plan. So while I was working on the bicycle, you saw that video. The weather got crazy that day. The whole driveway and yard here turned into a lake. Like, it turned into a lake at some point. There was no piece of ground left above water that day. It was a bit nuts. The water got up to the point where it was almost going to cover the road. All the drainage ditches were completely overflowed, and it kept rising, and it looked like it was just going to cover the road at some point. And I was just like, well, at the same time, Amazon said, oh, your delivery is going to be, now it's going to be between 5 and 7 or 5 and 8. And I'm like, all right, still works. Well, then Amazon turns around, they're like, sorry, but your order is going to be between 8 and 10 p.m. And I'm like, at that point, when they tell you that, it's actually going to be between 8 and 10 p.m. now, that means it's over. You're not getting your order today. That's just their computer system glitching out. And they kind of lie to you. So I was a little disappointed, but I'm like, well, maybe it'll come tomorrow. So Saturday, yesterday was tomorrow. I had to go to the bakery. I was really worried about the water level. Sunday night when I went to bed, I looked out the door. I opened the door and I looked outside, and the whole property was underwater. Now, this building that I'm in is up. In a lot of places, you don't just build a house. A house like this, you should raise it up off the ground, because here in Houston, it's going to flood. You might be lucky enough to get an elevated piece of ground that's going to, shed water, but this one seems to be a low point. around here. I can almost see how the guy who bought this property probably got a good deal on it, because it's probably one of the lower properties on this side of the road. But yeah, it was a soaker. But when I left yesterday morning, the water had receded, so everything was still wet, but it wasn't like I wasn't having to walk around in water halfway up to my knees to get out of here. And the whole way into work and the whole way home, the weather was beautiful. Really nice weather yesterday. And so, but at some point I took a break in the early afternoon yesterday, and I looked at Amazon, and my order's still stuck. And now they're saying, well, we don't even know. Who knows? It's going to be delivered. We don't even fucking know anymore. And so I was like, I had a half hour, so I got on with their customer support chat. And Ranjit, from India, gets on, and he's like, I am very, very, very sorry that you experienced that situation that I am very sorry about. And I'm like, all right, dude. And I'm just being polite, and I'm like, hey, I was just wondering, is this order going to still be shipped? And the first thing he says is, would you like your refund on your credit card or from your Amazon account? And I'm like, I would rather have the items that I ordered, if that's possible. And he just kind of disappears for a while, and he comes back, and he said, unfortunately, your package has been lost. He's like, would you like the refund? And I'm like, well, I said, can you just reorder it, the whole thing, the whole order, without charging me? And he says, oh, certainly. And so he did it. And I saw the order show up, no charge. I'm like, okay, it's acceptable. He said it would be here tomorrow, which is today. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So what I'm really trying to do is get to where when I come home from the bakery, I can just pretty much jump right in the bathtub and soak with the Epsom salt and the whole treatment and just relax. I'm hoping that will take away some of the pain that this causes and some of the energy loss that this causes, because it's starting to get better, or it's starting to get not better but worse over time. I'm noticing that my bike rides are getting slower and I'm having less energy, just a little bit over time. It's getting harder and harder to do this, and it's because my body's just worn out from everything. And some of it has to do with the move and the stress that was going through my body. There was a significant amount of stress in the month of May, for sure. And I'm still feeling, so I've talked about this a lot of times. I have a tendency to, as soon as the one thing I'm worried about passes and nothing came to pass and there was nothing to be worried about, I'll just latch on to the next thing. It's like a conveyor belt of worries, and it just keeps going by. It just keeps going by. Oh, here's the next one. Worry about this. Okay, put it back. Let it go. Oh, now it's time to worry about this. Let it go. So, and I've picked up on a new one this week. I'm not even gonna talk about it. It's not worth it, because I know what it is, so I'm not letting it rule my life. But just the stress and the physicality of the bike riding and everything has put a damper on my energy levels. But I'm in a better place in this new house here. There's a few things that I don't like about this place and a few problems. But you're gonna find that it doesn't matter. You could buy the nicest mansion, brand new build. You could be a multi-millionaire celebrity moving into your brand new mansion that you just built. You'll find a million things that you hate about it. I could go to heaven and I'd probably get sick of the harp music after a few days and say, can you at least play Stairway to Heaven? Can you put on some Led Zeppelin? Can we rock out for a minute? I'm sick and tired of this fucking harp music and all this Jesus church music. Like, come on. Do they play Jesus music? Do they play this garbage Christian rock shit all day in heaven? Or do they play good music when you get there? I mean, I hope it's not that garbage Christian pop, Christian rock bullshit where all these 2-bit ass clown musicians that have no talent can make money by being a Christian musician instead of being a regular musician. Because it's that being a Christian musician these days is kind of like the man who goes to the Olympics pretending to be a girl to get the gold medal in women's boxing because he can't even get to the Olympics as a male boxer. That's the same thing. Most of these Christian bands can't make any money being a band. But when they become a Christian band, then they get all the money because now all the churches want them on the Jesus circuit. And when they go on tour, it's from one church to another instead of one stadium to another. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. Their music sucks. And it's just watered down and no talent. And but anyway, back to the point. My energy is a little bit low, and soaking in the tub would be a good thing. But my Amazon order got all jacked. And so the guy, Ranjit, he placed a new order for me. And it's the new order is on its way. According to Amazon, it has officially been put out for delivery, so the truck is on the way. I don't care when it gets here. I wanted to do laundry today, but I'm specifically not doing any laundry right now because I want the bathtub to be available. As soon as that guy pulls up with the box, here comes the Epsom salts. I'm taking a bath as soon as it shows up. I'm tired, I'm sore, I've got all kinds of muscle aches. I feel like it's amplified because I'm waiting to soak in the tub to see like, does it go away? Does it really, is it going to invigorate me as much as I think it will? There's other things I can do. I need to update my diet, my food intake. I've been eating a little bit healthier since I moved into this place, but I've also been eating a lot of convenience foods like frozen pizzas and some of the throwbacks from the tool shed that I was living in, where I was just eating. The tool shed diet got bad. I tried to be healthy for a while, and then it just got to like straight up comfort food and stuff that was easy to cook with no cooking equipment. Here I've got a couple of burgers thawing out right now. I bought some ground beef at Walmart because there's a Walmart grocery store right down at the end of the street. It's less than a mile to walk there. I would say overall, I hate Walmart. I absolutely hate Walmart as a company. I hate shopping there. I don't like the Walmart grocery store. I just don't like being in. I hate Walmart. I cannot stand Walmart at all. I hate that place. But there's a grocery store right at the end of my street, and I'm like, well, I'm this close to giving grocery delivery a shot. But my biggest concern with getting groceries delivered to the house is I'm going to get all the moldy lemons. I'm going to get the apple that has the worm in it. I'm going to get all the worst produce. Anything that you need to pick out, I'm going to get the milk with the closest expiration date to today. Like, it might expire tomorrow, but if you reach from the back of the shelf, you'll get milk that's got like a 2 weeks expiration date from today. Things that matter that you should pick out yourself, that's all going to get screwed up because you think the grocery store worker is going to give you the best stuff when they're delivering it to your house. Get the fuck out of here. It's not going to happen. And that's the reason why I don't. I would have signed up for grocery delivery years ago when that started getting popular. I just don't trust these ding-dongs at the grocery store to pick out my food. In fact, I assume whatever I ask them to pick out for me, they're going to pick the worst one to get rid of it. They're probably told by corporate, make sure you get rid of all the moldy lemons, and if you see an apple with a worm in it, put it in the online order. Put it in the pickup order. Put it, especially the delivery order, put them in those orders. Oh, when the customer orders milk, make sure to get the one that expires tomorrow, not the one that expires next week. Salads, make sure you give them the wilted ones. The salads in a bag. Make sure you give them one. If you see one that's wilted, throw it in the order. Like, corporate is probably telling them explicitly to do that. Don't give them the good stuff. Get the stuff rid. We have to get rid of all this stuff before we can't sell it anymore. Make sure you put it in the delivery orders. So, I mean, you know how that's how these companies operate. How do I know? I got ground beef from Walmart, and it said it was 3.25 pounds for whatever price. And it was just a thing of ground beef, 3.25 pounds. I turn it into quarter-pound burger patties, and then I freeze them. And so I'm going through quarter-pound burger patties. I ended up with 3 pounds of quarter-pound burger patties, and I was supposed to have 3.25 pounds. And I'm like, wait a minute. I took all the burger patties, and I put them on the scale, and I took the whole thing and put it on the scale. They shorted me a quarter pound. So when you buy ground beef at Walmart, it'll say 3.25 pounds. It's going to be 3 pounds. Like, they're just a bunch of shady scumbags at Walmart. They'll do that shit because if they can short everybody who buys ground beef a quarter pound, every 4 people, they got a pound out of you. Every 4 people get shorted a full pound. So, every 4 people that buy ground beef, think about how many pounds of ground beef are getting bought at Walmart. And if everybody gets shorted a quarter pound, they're making a lot more money. That all that beef that they didn't give you that you paid for adds up. Like when you go nationwide and all the millions of pounds of beef that they shorted. But that's Walmart. Like any other fucking grocery store, when you look at the tag and it says, 3.62 pounds, and you put it on your fucking scale, it's going to 3.62. It's going to say, it's going to be what it said it weighs. But Walmart, you can't trust a fucking thing in that store. Anything with that great value label, don't touch that shit at all. I fucked up and I got some bacon with the great value label on it. And so I'm like, now it's a clear package. It's a slab of bacon, the thick sliced slabs of bacon. It's a small package, but it was a good price. And I'm like, but what the fuck's wrong with this bacon is the first thing going through my mind. I know it all came from the same pig because it's a slab. It's not just a bunch of random slices in a pack. But I'm like, what's going to happen when I cook this bacon? Because it's a great value bacon. So no, I refuse. I will not pick up anything that has that great value logo on it from Walmart. Now, the Target brand, the Good Gather, whatever the fuck it's called, their stuff's okay. It's hit or miss. I got some dish soap that sucked with that label on it. But you get, there's a lot of things at Target where they have their Target brand, their generic Target brand, and it's okay. The coffee, the salted caramel coffee that they sell at Target with their own label on it is fucking delicious. I've got tons of it. I've been buying that I was buying that like crazy because it's cheap. It was the cheapest coffee you could get. They had a bunch of different flavors, but that one flavor was really good. But if I went to Walmart and I saw Great Value coffee, fuck no. Hell to the no on that. Google this shit. Go to YouTube and just type in Walmart Great Value and you'll get all kinds of videos about how fucked up the Great Value stuff is at Walmart. It's fucking, it's horrid. Nothing with that label is worth buying. So yeah, I don't know what I'm in for with this bacon. It looked decent. I mean, I looked at the bacon and that's what I saw. I didn't see I wasn't paying attention to the label, but I'll never do that again. I'll never buy anything with that label on it because there's something going on. But I'm gonna cook up all that bacon today. I'm gonna cut the slab in half because I have a round skillet with a bacon press. And I'm gonna cook the whole thing, put it out on a paper towel to dry, and then I'll have a stack of bacon to go through. I'm gonna make some bacon cheeseburgers today, probably with a side. I've got some instant mashed potatoes that I gotta get rid of, so that'll be my side going with my burgers today. I think, but it'll be okay. I'm just going to progressively get more and more healthy as I move forward and just start cooking more and more and trying to get to the point where I can cook stuff from scratch and make good meals. But I have things like, I have ramen noodles to get through. There's going to be a few prison chi-chis coming through the cook. And there's one thing I have to do. I either have to pre-make food for the days that I ride my bike to the bakery, or I have to get things that are like super, super fast and easy to cook and make, so that I can eat something when I get home from those bike rides, but I have no energy to cook. So Amazon's supposed to deliver the Epsom salts and the whole Bath and Crooked Body Works stuff, Back and Broken Body Works. Bath and Broken Back Body Works. It's what it's going to be today. I'm not doing laundry just for the purpose of having the bathtub ready to go. As soon as that truck pulls up, boom, I'm going to take it. I'm soaking in the tub. I was really looking forward to it on Sunday because I was hurting. The day after I do this bakery shit hurts. And so I was hoping that Sunday night I could get a nice relaxation out of it and then wake up Monday morning having to go to the bakery again without feeling like a train wreck. But yesterday I felt like a train wreck going the whole day. It's now about 22 miles each way. So 22-mile bike ride to the bakery, lifting, it was a pretty normal size order to do the stock, take the deliveries and stock everything, lifting all the 50-pound bags of flour and, all 50-pound boxes of chocolate chips and 50-pound or 50-pound boxes of butter, whatever they weigh, all of it, tons of, most things weigh 25 or 50 pounds when they come for restaurant deliveries. And then after that, I was busy on my feet, working nonstop, minus a half-hour break to eat 1,000-calorie Reese's peanut butter cup brownie. So that pretty much undoes all the exercise I gets undid when I eat 1,000-calorie brownie for lunch. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna work in a room full of 1,000-calorie treats that you're allowed to eat and then take a break and sit there and not eat one? You're not. That's not how it works. So just accept it for what it is. Eat your brownie and, have a hard time losing weight because that's what it's gonna be. But then I had to ride 22 miles to get home. I had to stop at the post office and wait in line for about an hour. I'm never going to go to the post. If you want to feel really depressed, if you're just walking around and you're like, I've been feeling really good lately. I could really go for some depression right now. Go into any government building. Spend about 15, 20 minutes, or, in my case, an hour in a government building. Any government building. It could be, a courtroom. It could be, it could be the fucking Senate. It could be any government building. It could be your town hall. It could be the DMV. It could be the post office. Whatever the fuck. If it's a government building and you got to be in there, you're going to be depressed for at least a week after you walk out of that door. The post office in the Woodlands is no exception. In fact, every single time I've ever gone into that post office, it's an hour-long line. It's got to be a miserable place to work, because from 8 in the morning or whenever they fucking open until 6 p.m., there's a line from the counter all the way to the door, wrapping around the place, and it's an hour. You're standing there for an hour, waiting in line. The person in front of me, waiting in line, had a wagon with boxes piled 6 feet high. And I'm like, yep, this is going to be a while. Good thing I got my phone. I can just sit here and veg out. I could watch a whole movie while I stand there if I wanted to, but I didn't want to drain my battery. But I had to, when you change your address, the post office more often than not will make you come into the post office and show them your ID and verify that you're the one that changed your own address. And so I had to do that yesterday. The actual process, I was done in less than a minute, but it definitely, just noticing something. Okay, that's done. Yeah, we're good. But I'm definitely, it was over an hour. So I didn't get home. I got home an hour later than I normally would have. I rode my bike past the mattress store that was going out of business. The one, everything must go, incredible arm flailing tube man out front. Everything must go, 75% off mattresses starting, queen size mattresses starting at $199, blah, blah, blah. And then I go in and I'm looking for a full mattress and it was like $500-600. And I'm like, well, obviously everything doesn't need to go. If you're like, there wasn't even a sale going on. Like, the prices that they were telling me everything was, I'm like, that's what it would have cost if I just came in off the street when you didn't have the tube man flailing around out front. Well, anyway, all the signs on Friday, when I went in there, the last day was June 15th. All the signs out front said June 15th, June 15th. So I rode by yesterday on my way home and I was expecting to see all the lights off and everything. Well, the fucking tube man, I'm like, someone forgot to shut off the incredible arm flailing tube man out front. I'm like, oh, they're wasting their electric bill. They're not even. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Everything must go, $199 start, everything must go. Now all the signs say June 20th. Last day, June 20th. We really mean it this time. Everything, last possible day, we're definitely closing on June 20th now. It's not gonna be, they changed all the fucking signs. And I'm like, this whole thing's a fucking scam. Is this just how this mattress store operates every fucking week? Going out of business, everything must go. Tube man flailing his arms outside. Come one, come all. And what is the mattress? What's the queen size mattress that you can get for $199? Is it some fucking cigarette and pee stained thing that they picked up under a bridge that a homeless guy was sleeping on and full of bed bugs and roaches that they'll drop off at your house, or you have to, they won't even deliver it because it's $199. Like, where is this $199 mattress you talk about? in the big sign out front that's 10 feet tall. Because I didn't see that in there. The full size mattress was like 600, 500. So I'm like, the whole thing's a fucking scam. The whole thing's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And I'm like, how do people fall for this well, nobody's falling for that one because I never see any. Not that I spend all day sitting in front of the place, but you never see anybody parked in the parking lot when you go by. Nobody's in there. Look, nobody's falling for it. They probably didn't even sell one bed in the last month. And everything must go. Like when that shit gets liquidated, when the thing finally does go out of business, you know, there's going to be some sort of auction or a bid on all of the unsold merchandise, and it's just going to be gobbled up by some other discount mattress store, and it's all going to go there. They might actually get a good deal on the stuff that's left, but you aren't. You're not going to. I thought about maybe going in there, but now it looks like I got until the 19th, which is Thursday. Maybe I can take a run over there. See if the prices are any different. See if the prices went up since the last time I was there. But I really don't want... I want to get a bed, but money's tight until I pay my next rent payment. So it's kind of like, everything's... I don't know. So, and I also got... So, yeah, speaking of money, I also had to get brake pads for my Silver Bullet because I found out that my brake pads were gouging my rims. But it really didn't cause that much damage. And I figured out the gouge that's baked into those rims, the Alex rims that have the gouge, the entire circumference around them. My mind finally, it's a wear marker on the rim. So as you know, rim brakes will wear out your rims over time. Thousands and thousands of miles. It's going to take thousands of miles to wear out your rim. But when you wear out these rims to where there's no gouge in the middle of the rim anymore, that means that you've shaven off enough metal that the rim manufacturer is basically saying at that point it's time for new rims, new wheels. Because wheels that cheap, you don't. Yeah, I mean, the hubs are probably worth rebuilding, especially if you're, to be honest, on a wheel that cheap, it might be more expensive to rebuild the wheel with a new hub. Or with reusing the same hub, but buying another rim and buying all the spokes and rebuilding the wheel yourself might cost more than just buying another wheel. It's hard, that I'd have to add up the math on that, but you could potentially get nicer. You could get a nicer rim, and if it's a decent hub, you could. If you want to learn how to build wheels for bicycling, it would be a worthwhile project to take hubs that you cut the spokes off of a busted up, worn out wheel, and use that hub as the base hub for a new wheel build, and find yourself a decent priced set of decent rims, get the spokes that you need, and learn how to build a wheel yourself. It's a neat skill to have. And you could probably do some cool stuff. You know, if you get really good at it, a hand-built wheel will last longer than a machine-built wheel, and it will be, it'll be better. But I'm assuming I paid for the rear wheel on the Red Rocket. I paid like $40 probably for that wheel. $40-50. It was like cheap. I'd have to look it up in my. I could tell you exactly what I paid, but that was close. That's pretty close to what it cost. But anyway, it's like my mind, when my computer's open in front of me, my attention gets pulled onto it sometimes. But let's see. So the mattress store, okay, so one other thing I've done. The trolls, I'm done with the trolls on this channel. I said I wouldn't ban them, but I've banned 2. I started banning them on Sunday. I read a couple of comments. This one fucking douchebag troll that you've all seen shows up, leaves another shitty comment, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Go to his profile, block. He can still watch the videos, but he can't leave comments anymore. And the thing that I noticed really quick was there was another guy that would show up and leave shitty comments on the channel. And when I banned the first guy, what the fuck is going on with this lighting? This camera app sucks balls because you can't lock the exposure. I'm trying to find how to it should have, like, most camera apps on Android have a lock button next to the exposure so that it doesn't do what it just did. This app sucks. I gotta find a different app. No big deal. This is, I believe, the Graphene OS default camera app. Everything on Graphene OS sucks balls in terms of the apps that they give you out of the box. I'm never going to have a Graphene OS phone ever again. If you're a drug dealer or you're somebody who needs privacy to the extreme, where the government can't crack your phone and get all of your stuff off of it, then give it a shot. But for a regular person, this doesn't work. You'll have way more problems than you solve using Graphene OS. If you have a separate phone, like a fuck around phone, if you're a tech guy and you have multiple phones, then yeah, try Graphene OS. It's kind of like if you have an extra computer, throw Linux on it and learn how to use Linux. But for me, Linux is pretty much fucking useless for me. Linux is very good to know. Linux has actually done a good job taking over server side things on the internet. Non-user interface stuff like databases and setting up web servers mostly are based on Linux servers now. You've got Microsoft servers and Linux servers, and Linux is more popular. Companies that use Microsoft servers are looking for someone to blame when something goes wrong, so there's like a liability thing there. So big banks, big companies will use Microsoft products because then if all their customers' money gets lost, they can be like, oh, that's Microsoft's fault. But if you use Linux and everything that you use is open source, then it's your fault because you can't blame open source. There's nobody bring into a courtroom and sue when open source doesn't work. But open source Linux is great for things that don't require a graphical user interface. But when it comes to software that you use for a job like mine, whether it's the Adobe Creative Suite, Figma, Miro, and 20 other apps that I use, you can't get any of the apps on Linux. So that puts the kibosh. The only way I could run the apps on Linux would be to get a Windows emulator for Linux and then run Windows apps on the emulator, but then everything's going to be slow and buggy as a result, rather than just using a Windows machine to do it. And that's the same situation you run into with a Graphene OS phone, is that you need to run pretty much every app that you need to run is an Android app, so you have to have an Android emulator on the phone so that you can run the Android apps, and then all the apps are Android, and you're back to like all the shit that comes with being tracked by Google and everything else. So it's kind of pointless to have a Graphene OS phone, in my opinion. I don't really get it. that's okay. You know, it's a fun experiment. I can at least say, you know, I've tried it. So it's not for me. But yeah, the trolls, you're done. They're done. It's like having a house party and inviting everybody in the neighborhood, and everybody's getting along and having a good time, but there's like one or two assholes walking around pissing everybody off and, you know, talking shit about the host. And it's like, I might put up with it for an hour or two, but if people keep coming up to me and saying, hey, you gotta do something about this fucking asshole, he's scaring all the girls, he's you know, he's starting fights, he took a beer out of someone's cooler without asking, you know, it's like, all right, dude, get the fuck out, you're done, go home, you're banned from the house party, you're banned from any future parties that we're having here, it's over. You know, you own a bar. Sometimes, you know, you want everybody in town to be able to come to your bar, and because that's how you get customers. But every now and then, you got to send one home because they're going to ruin it for everybody. So yeah, it's my house, it's my club, it's my bar. Get the fuck out. So I noticed right when I kicked this guy out, about 3 hours went by and another account that's also a troll account on this channel left the exact same fucking comment that this other guy fucking left. And I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's the same guy. The same fucking retard has 2 accounts, maybe more. And he came right back to the fucking channel to leave the same shitty comment that I had already deleted because I kicked him off. So that one got kicked off too. And I'm like, what kind of a fucking loser are you? What kind of a fucking worthless loser are you if you got nothing better to do than to go around YouTube watching people's videos so that you can leave a shitty comment on their channel every time they post a video? And you're not only that much of a fucking loser, but you juggle multiple YouTube accounts so that you can come back and do it again when they kick you off. Like, obviously this guy's not getting any pussy or doing anything useful in his fucking life if that's all he does every day when he comes home from whatever shitty job he works at. So, you know, speak for yourself, you fucking asshole, when you show up and you leave your stupid comments on people's channels. I'm done. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. I don't care. It's a totally different situation when a regular person who comes to the channel will leave a comment that I disagree with, and I'll just shake my head and be like, fuck that, or you're wrong, or, you know, whatever. But there's a difference between someone I disagree with and an actual troll. Big difference. A troll just shows up to talk shit and be an asshole every time they walk in the room. Other people who leave comments that I disagree with are just, it's a disagreement. We don't have to agree. There's nobody in this world that I agree with 100% on everything. You know, there are people who generally leave good comments one video after the next, and then all of a sudden they leave a shitty comment on a video for one reason or another, and I'm like, oh, fuck you. But I'm not gonna kick you off, or I may or may not even respond, because, you know, I see all the positive comments that you left before, and, you know, a lot of the people's names, a lot of the screen names or the little avatar or whatever, I recognize you. And so, but I'm done with the trolls. Trolls, I'm over it. I'm just gonna kick them off. I said that I wouldn't. I've been saying that for over a year, that I wouldn't kick the trolls off. And now I'm like, nah, I'm gonna kick them off. Fuck it. I can do it. So, go start your own channel with your fucking 5 subscribers that you have on your channel. And, you know, have fun with that. But, I mean, I'm still stuck at 1,200 subscribers. I mean, we all know what's going on with YouTube. I mean, they have 20 different ways to shut people up and censor people. on, one of those 20 methods that they use. Lock the subscriber count. I gained 1,000 subscribers in 3 months doing nothing but talk on a video every day from some location in Jamestown. 1,000 subscribers in 3 months. Then it slowed down a little bit. And then in September, I moved to Texas. I still, to this day, it's June 17th. I have not gained 1 subscriber, not 1 new subscriber. And a lot of you people that come and watch all the videos have pointed that out. How is your channel not growing? Channels that do the same thing you do, just sit in front of a camera and talk. They're growing and growing and growing. They're always getting new subscribers. You've been stuck at the same number of subscribers for 10 months now. I gained 1,000 subscribers in 3 months, and the only thing that changed was I'm not homeless anymore, and now I'm stuck. I have not gained not one subscriber in 10 straight months. Not even one. Not even one. Yet other channels that I watch that grew around the same time I did, they got tens of thousands of subscribers now. And they're not doing anything different than I do, except they self-censor themselves and they don't say certain things about certain scams that are being pulled on society, and their channels grow, but mine doesn't. Yeah, we all know what's going on there. But this isn't why I'm doing this. If I gave a fuck about it, I would keep my mouth shut and not say the wrong thing. But I don't give a fuck about that. But definitely, I'm going to have to start putting content on Rumble, BitChute, and some of these other platforms again when I start getting into my rhythm again, because there will come a day where YouTube just shuts off the channel. I don't know what it will be I don't know what it will take. But I think that they're happy with taking a little bit of money from me for the ad revenue, as long as they keep me from reaching people. So that's fine. We'll figure it out as we go. I know there's things I can do that have nothing to do with the censorship that should result in getting more views on the channel. I could spin up a brand new channel, pretend to be somebody else, have a completely different Gmail address, and just fake everything, and probably get do an experiment where I never say the wrong things and watch it grow, but I don't blame YouTube 100% for it, but I think it's very, very strange that the subscriber count got to a certain point and then it just stopped. Like, I've never seen a channel completely stop growing, completely, like to where they don't even get 1 subscriber in a span of 10 months, even though they put out hundreds of videos. It's unheard of, no matter how bad the content is. So, or how bad the quality is, or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's something to it. But that's fine. I have a good time hanging out with all of you guys and all of you gals that show up here, and and I will say that this has been a mostly positive experience. I would not be able to survive right now. Everything that I'm doing right now, the survival, getting into my own place, getting to Houston, all the things that I've done, all of it, are a direct result of being here on YouTube and doing this. None of the good stuff that's happened to me since the day I started shooting these videos would have happened if I didn't do that. Everything that's going on right now is a direct result of this, and it's weird. I mean, it's good and bad. Mostly good. I was hoping to be able to get back on my feet without being on social media and without having to go out there and do this, but now I guess God had other plans for me, because this is not what I wanted to do when I came home from being in federal lockup. I was adamant about this with not only my ex but my friends, and I just said I want to lay low. I don't want anybody to know who I am. I want to fucking disappear. All of that. That's it. I don't want this. I don't want to be online. I don't want any of this. And it just became it started out as a suggestion from my best friend that, hey, you know, being homeless, people would watch that. And I remember being mad about it. I was like, fuck you. I'm like, I can't fucking I got enough fucking shit on my plate. I can't sit here and fucking do video editing and all this other fucking bullshit. I'm homeless. Fuck. And I was mad. I wasn't mad at my friend. I was just mad that, like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? And I figured out a way, and the way was just hit record, talk, upload, be done with it. Don't give a fuck about anything. Just push it up, put it up, put it up, put it up. And so, and it worked out. It turned into, I want to say it's the best decision I've ever made in my life, but it's 100% the reason why I'm surviving right now. 100%. Without having, if I had been thrown out into the street to be homeless and I didn't do that, I might still be homeless. I wouldn't have I'd be done. I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have anything. I wouldn't have the means to be able to even live in a simple life. I wouldn't have been able to do anything that I've done. Everything, even the work that I'm doing is a direct or indirect result of sitting and doing these videos every day. Not every day, but, you know, on a regular basis. And I even got to chill out this week and relax, like actually relax like I'm in a real home, kinda. I got a freaking TV. It's not the best TV. It was less than $100, and then the clamp mount was $25 to mount it. So, and I'm using a Bluetooth speaker that I already have, and I just decided to watch the entire Star Wars cinematic universe in chronological order according to the Star Wars Wikipedia media list, the timeline of Star Wars canon media in chronological order according to the Star Wars timeline. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on this list that I'm not. There's books, there's comic books, and there's a bunch of like little kids shows that are official Star Wars canon, but I don't give a fuck about watching them. Like goofy, just stupid cartoons. There's 3D animated shows, and then there's like hand-drawn, like traditional like cartoons. The cartoons are out. I'm not watching those. But the animated stuff, the 3D animated series, I'm watching those. Those are actually pretty well done. The Clone Wars series is really good. There's like 7. Now, George Lucas, this was before he sold that shit to Disney. So the Clone Wars animated series, I think it's 7 seasons long. I'm kind of looking it up as I sit here and talk to you, but it's the Clone Wars series is at least 7 seasons long. It used to be on Netflix exclusively, and it was, some episodes are better than others, and it's a little bit oriented towards kids, but it's also oriented to the adults. It's kind of a mix. It's because the storytelling is there, and it fills in all the gaps and all the little questions that you might ask if you only watch the movies, and you're like, how the hell did, like, you need to, it explains things in a lot more detail than just watching the movies themselves. And then you've got the Star Wars TV shows like Andor, Ahsoka, Like, nobody would even know what Ahsoka is or who she is if you didn't watch the animated series about the Clone Wars. Because she's not in any of the movies, and so when people see, people who aren't fans of Star Wars but like watching the shows on TV and whatnot, they'll be like, who the hell is Ahsoka? And then you have to explain it, and people are just like, what? Like, I missed all of, and it's like, yeah, there's a whole, if you watch this series, you'll be Ahsoka'd out, because she's in every episode. But anyway, there are, how do I put it? There are things, so even if you narrow this list down to just the movies and the TV stuff, you have to filter out the the stuff that's for the little kids too. And they have audio books, video games, young reader books, other like board games. They count that, short stories, and then, like I said, books, comic books, and some other stuff. And when you filter all of that shit out, then you have to filter out all the TV shows that were made for like little kids, little kids, like Sesame Street age kids. Because I don't want to watch that fucking crap. So when you filter it all out to that level, you get down to about, well, I'll figure, 419 episodes of one form or another that make up this whole thing. And so I'm on, I don't know how many I've done. Let me take a look. I might be able to count. Checked. I've done 16 so far. I've completed 16 out of the 419 so far since I got the TV, and I'm in the middle of Attack of the Clones, the second prequel movie. I just started falling asleep in my chair last night, and I was like, yeah, I can't watch it. I've seen this movie 100 times, so it's just get it over with, And then it goes into the Clone Wars and some of the other side series. But the order of the shows will be in a different order than you originally watched them, because somebody with too much time on their hands went through and figured out the chronological order of every single one of these things and where it fits. And so I'm just like, okay, somebody else wanted to go do that. All right, I'll give it a shot. This is going to take a long time to watch all this stuff. And so it's just something to do at night when it's dark outside and I'm tired and I'm ready to go to bed, but I'm not ready to just go to bed yet. And it's there. It's there for the... it starts out with the show called The Acolyte, and it goes all the way to the last Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9. Some of the stuff is really good, and some of the stuff is pretty terrible, and some of the stuff is mediocre and kind of in between, in terms of the quality of it. But I always bring up Star Wars quotes and stuff when I'm talking about things that I talk about on this show, because a lot of it is relatable and a lot of it's good information about things that, the story writing, I think overall there's good messages in this show, and I think it's something that's good for kids to watch, and especially the original trilogy where it was about, overthrowing an evil empire. Disney's kind of fucked all that up. And I told you in a previous video that I shot, Disney did that on purpose. They're doing that because they don't want you to have hope. They don't want the good guys to win. They want Disney turned Star Wars from a series where the good guys win into a series where it doesn't matter how much the good guys keep fighting, the bad guys always come back and win. They totally twisted the whole thing around. And that's because that's what the company Disney is for. It's not, it makes money because of what it is. And they're such a big company that no matter what they do, they're going to make money at the end of the year. Some projects lose money, some projects make money, but that's not their goal. They're the same exact thing when it comes to state propaganda, communist propaganda that Joseph Stalin had in Soviet Russia. It's a state, or in our case, the elite that own America. It's their way of pumping propaganda into your head to program you. That's why they call television programming, because they're programming you to behave and think a certain way by shoving all this garbage down your throat. But at the same time, if you have any kind of discernment, if you're a child of God and God has given you the ability to discern things that you watch and figure, you'll see the propaganda. It doesn't have an effect on you because it's obvious. You watch it and you're like, boy, that's some bullshit propaganda right there. But dumb people, the bread and circus idiots that run around this country by and large, the people that sit in their lazy boy on the weekends drinking beer and watching football, not paying attention to anything or just believing whatever Fox News told them to believe or whatever MSDNC told them to believe. You know, the people that actually believe that one political party is better than the other, they're just a bunch of useless idiots. And that's what the programming's for. It's to keep you people dumb. So some of the things that I get, I'm kind of like, I already talked about stuff that was in the Acolyte in terms of positive messages that came from a terrible show. And one of those messages was when the one character, the Sith character, said, you know, once you've lost everything, then you're finally free. And I talked about that at length, about when you lose everything in your life, when you lose everything, now you're free. So in my case, I've lost everything, including not just things, but my friends, family, anybody who ever gave a shit about me, except for like maybe 2 people in the world, they all turned their back on me. I lost my career, my reputation, everything's gone. So now I can say whatever the fuck I want to say on the internet for the whole world to see, because fuck it, why not? People keep leaving comments on YouTube about how, aren't you afraid that if you say the wrong thing, it's going to screw up? I already did. I already said the wrong thing and it fucked up my life. And now that shit's over. The fucking ship has sailed. It's not coming back. You don't get to come back from that. You know, if you're a celebrity, like, you know, if you're Pee Wee Herman and you got caught beating one out in the porno theater, and, you know, all the Karens who sit their children in front of Pee Wee's Playhouse, Pee Wee's Play With Yourself Playhouse on Saturday morning, you know, they're all angry, and Pee Wee Herman got ostracized and kicked out of Hollywood for a while, and he had to go on that, oh, I'm sorry break. You know, he had to tell everybody he's sorry and disappear for about 10 plus years, and then all of a sudden Paul Rubens, the actor, the serious actor, Paul Rubens, is getting TV show deals. And he's getting millions of dollars again to be on TV and be an actor and be a celebrity again, because everybody forgave him for beating one out in a porno theater. Like, who the fuck? I mean, do they even have porno theaters anymore? Like movie they had one in Pittsburgh. I never went, but that was a thing when we were in art school, because the thing was right fucking there in the middle of the neighborhood, and a lot of people would get drunk at the parties and go to the fucking porno theater, but just never really felt like going in there. I'm just like, I don't want to sit in those fucking seats. Are you kidding me? Oh, But it took the city of Pittsburgh a long, long time to get rid of that fucking porno movie theater in the middle of the north side. Oh my God, that thing was there for decades, and they finally got rid of it because they wanted to build this into a nice neighborhood. But you got this big old porn theater, and I'm talking right out. It wasn't like hidden. This thing's got lights, and it's like, bam, right in the middle of this neighborhood. You can't miss it. And but it's gone now. But I mean, who does that? Is that even something you could get caught doing anymore? Poor Pee Wee Herman, man. He had it all, and he lost it all, and then he was finally free. He was finally free. But I don't know. Is that what's going to happen to me? I go on my 5 to 10 year apology tour, where I'm not allowed to have a career, and I have to tell everybody I'm sorry and all that fucking bullshit, and then I get to have, we'll give him his design job again someday. Fuck you, I'm done. I don't give a fuck about that, and it's gone. It's gone. Now I'm free to say whatever the fuck I want, as long as I don't break the law and threaten people or say something that could be construed as a threat, whatever. It's done. That was the message in one of the episodes of The Acolyte. So I just watched, one of the things was the, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A movie that would have been better if it weren't for that fucking Jar Jar Binks character. Oh, that fucking thing sucks. I've seen this movie a lot, and I saw it in the theaters when it came out. I remember when we saw it in the theaters when it came out, we all thought it was great at first, because every time you watch this movie, Jar Jar Binks gets worse and worse and worse, and it becomes unwatchable, because you're just just shut the fuck up! Someone cut his fucking head off already. Shut the fuck up! You're the most annoying fucking thing that was ever put in a fucking movie. He put it in there to make little kids little kids love Star Wars. You didn't have to put this fucking thing in there to make little kids like Star Wars. When I was a little kid, we all loved Star Wars, and it didn't have something like that in it. It didn't make any sense. But I always talk about what Yoda says when it comes to, fear is the path to the dark side. And, but I never get the quote accurate when I'm talking about it on this show. I've said it 100 times at least, but it's in The Phantom Menace where he says this. Anakin is being evaluated. Anakin Skywalker, the little boy, is being interviewed by the pompous, arrogant Jedi Council. The Jedi Council, who are so smart that they couldn't figure out that the fucking Chancellor was the Sith Lord the whole fucking time that he was orchestrating this war for his own power gain. But Yoda is talking to Anakin about how he senses a bunch of fear in him. Much fear I sense in you. And he said, miss your mother, you do. And Anakin was like, yeah, I miss my mom. He's like a 10-year-old boy who just got taken to another planet on the other side of the galaxy, and it's the first day he didn't come home to see his mom or whatever, and he's like, I miss my mom. Afraid of losing her you are. And Anakin was like, yeah, what's the big deal, dude? Back off. And Yoda is like, that is a big deal. I don't even know the exact quote I'm trying to come up with, but Anakin basically said, what's the big deal? And Yoda's like, everything. And he looks at Anakin and he said, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. hate leads to suffering. And so that's the exact quote. I'll probably remember it from now on, but fear is the path to the dark side. I always talk about whenever I get pissed off about something, I'm trying to figure out, what am I afraid of? Like, what is the fear that I have that's under the anger? Because I probably wouldn't be pissed off about something if it wasn't for the fear of something. It could be something like, I'm pissed off because Amazon didn't deliver my bath salts the other day. But what's the fear? I'm pissed off, well, because they told me it was going to be here today and then they didn't. Fucking Amazon, fuck those motherfuckers, right? But, okay, I'm pissed off, but what's the fear? What fear? Well, my fear, I'm going to have a fear that I can't take a bath and soak in bath salts today, and my muscles are going to be all achy and sore tomorrow when I ride my bike to work, and I'm going to be more tired tomorrow than I would have been had I been able to soak in the tub with all this extra stuff that goes with it. And then there was an element of fear of Amazon's probably not delivering my shit today because of all the flooding and the rainstorm, and I'm looking out the window and I see this whole lake in my front, like the whole driveway and everything. You watched me work on my bicycle when it was still sunny out, and 3 hours later, that spot where I was working on my bike was underwater. The whole thing, the whole property was flooded. And so I'm fearful that tomorrow I'm going to be riding my bike in a flood. Like, I'm not even going to be able to get on my bicycle without having to step into water that is halfway up to my knees and have my feet completely soaking wet before I even get my bicycle on the road. And then how many places on my ride to work are going to be flooded out with signs saying you're not allowed to go any further, or possibly even police and shit like that having it blocked off. And then how am I going to get to the job? Like all these things. All because I'm pissed off that Amazon didn't deliver my bath salts today. So, but how does this relate in a more broad sense? Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. 2020. I've never been angrier in my life than from March of 2020 all the way to August of 2022. And it kept getting more and more intense as this COVID scam. There we go, I just said it. So I'm not going to get any new subscribers for a while because I said that COVID was a fucking scam. And I'll never stop saying that. But because of the COVID scam and all the bullshit that this government did to us, the anger was already pretty high in March of 2020, but keep going and keep going and keep going. I got fired from a job that I worked remotely from 2019 forward, not because of the COVID scam, but because it was a remote job. I got fired from a remote job for not taking the vaccine. Can you imagine like how much my anger was escalating day by day by day by day by day by day by day? And the hate. I've never been more full of hate than the day I went to prison. And in fact, I'm still full of it. And look how much the anger that I had, especially after I got fired for not taking the vaccine, my anger just kept going through. My anger was off the charts. I've never been more angry in my whole life. And hatred, anger leading to, I hate. And I will always hate the people that did this. The people that were responsible for this. The people who I had to deal with, the cult members, the Jim Jones vaccine cult and all of that. I will hate you people for the rest of my life until I die. Hatred. Like I don't think I'll ever get over it. I truly, like there's people I used to be friends with that I hate. Like I purely fucking hate you people. I don't dislike you. I truly and utterly fucking hate you. I hate you people. Hate. And I'm going to hate you for the rest of my life. There's a lot of you. You know who you are. You know who you are. But all that hatred built up inside of me to the point where I went and did certain things that caused my suffering. How much suffering have I been through since August of 2022 when the FBI drove a tank into my house, drug me off to fucking prison, tortured me, lost everything, and I'm still suffering to this day from words, from saying words. I said words on the internet. I said words, and that turned into all of this. They put me through more suffering than a guy who killed somebody. So the guy I shared a jail cell with, he got 14 months in jail for killing a guy. He ran over a guy on a bicycle because he was drunk. Well, there's more to it than that. But according to the government and the judge and the sentencing, he spent 14 months in jail for running over a guy on a bicycle when he was drunk. So what you're telling me is that I ride my bicycle every day in Houston. If a drunk driver runs me over and kills me while I'm on my bicycle, they will spend less time in jail than I spent in jail for mean tweets. Can you let that sink in for just a minute? Can you let that sink in? If you think that what I went through is fair and that I got what I deserve, put it in the comments. I might not ban you if you're not a troll. But seriously, I was in prison. I was in a jail cell with a guy, and he's a good guy. I like him. I like this guy. Out of all the people I met when I was locked up, he was one of the best people I met, and I felt bad for him. Felt bad for him. I think he got railroaded a little bit too. The guy on the bicycle did a lot of things wrong. Just gonna leave it at that. I've talked about this. If you want, go back and watch some old videos. Maybe you'll stumble upon me talking about it again. But what you're telling me, government, is that if a drunk driver runs me off the road in Houston and runs me over and kills me, if the wife beater driving the Dodge Ram gets fucking shit-faced at the bar and runs me over on my bike and kills me, he's gonna go to jail for less time for killing me than I got sentenced to for saying mean things on social media. Where the fuck is the justice there? There's no justice there. That's some fucking bullshit right there. But getting back to the movie Star Wars, fear is the path to the dark side. That's why the whole message of the Bible is don't be afraid. God is always telling us to not be afraid. Don't be afraid. Doesn't fucking matter what you're going through. Stop being afraid, because the fear is the path to all the bad things that are like everything will get worse. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hatred. And then that hatred will cause you to suffer. Later on in the movie, Qui-Gon is telling little Anakin, it just said, I don't even remember, it just said, your focus determines your reality. How many times have I talked about this on this channel? What you think about, you bring about. And when you focus your energy on positive things, and when you focus your energy that you're going to make things happen, you've seen me materialize shit on this channel just by putting it out there. I'm gonna start doing a freelance business. Freelance clients started knocking on my door only because I put it out in the world that that's what I was gonna do. But I also had this vision in 2020 of the FBI driving a fucking tank into my house and trying to take me away and take my kids away, and all the shit that you hear about in what communist dictators do when they take over a country and all that kind of shit. And I kept having that vision over and over until it finally materialized and actually happened. I brought that about. Part of the reason why that happened to me is because I kept thinking about it happening. Because this is what our country, all the shit going on in America is what the history books all say happens right before the government starts going door to door and kicking in your fucking door and rounding everybody up to take you to the fucking camp. And so, yeah, I wasn't the only one thinking about this shit between the 2020 and 2022. We were all watching this happen. But my only point is that Qui-Gon, one of the coolest Jedi in the Jedi Order, you know, he's a cool laid back dude who he was kind of like a Jedi outcast because he was like the cool guy at church, and surrounded by all the people with the religious dogma. You know, he was the guy in the Catholic Church that said, we don't gotta follow all these stupid fucking rules and all this pompous bullshit that you guys are doing. Jesus, this isn't what Jesus meant when he came to this world. In fact, Jesus was mostly against the shit that you're all doing right now. Most of Jesus's ministry was going against the Pharisees, and then the Christians, different parts of Christianity have turned into the Pharisees. And so, but Qui-Gon, the coolest Jedi, was telling Anakin before he died, your focus determines your reality. So don't focus on the negative all the time. Try not to do that. It's easier said than done. Because when you focus that bad things are going to happen, then more bad things happen. Part of the reason why I watch the prosperity gospel people on YouTube from time to time, or I'll have it on in the background, is because I'm trying to figure out, are these just a bunch of money-grubbing scumbag religious whores? And I'm not talking about the holy fans chicks, the slutty church girls that get all dolled up and do their bullshit on YouTube for clickbait, or I'm talking about a few other guys that do the same thing. Do they actually have a purpose of trying to get you to be in a positive thought cycle and break your negative habits of constantly expecting the worst? Is there something to a person who just encourages you to expect good things to happen versus always expecting the worst? Will just doing that change the outcome by instead of always expecting the worst? If you can turn yourself into a person who always expects the worst, or turn yourself into a person that always expects the best outcome, when you used to be somebody who always expected the worst, if you can make that change in your mind, will it have a positive effect on you? So some of these times I put these people on in the background and I listen to them or whatever, is trying to encourage myself to not think negatively, not necessarily because I believe what they say about, well, next Tuesday you're going to be rich, or whatever the fuck retarded ass clickbait bullshit's coming out of their mouth. And then, so it's focusing on the negative. If you wanted to use movies to learn how to pick up chicks, probably one of the best characters in terms of movies, if you want to emulate how to pick up women, how to meet women, and how to behave around women so that they're attracted to you as a guy, two of the best characters you could ever watch would be Han Solo, number one, and outside of the Star Wars universe, James Bond. And specifically, why the fuck can't I? Sean Connery, the original James Bond. But every James Bond character. If you watched all the James Bond movies, there's a reason why James Bond always gets the girl. Every time James Bond wants to bang a chick, she's right in bed with him right away. But Han Solo, the reason why he got Princess Leia was because of who he is. And so those are two role models if you want to watch how to pick up women. If you want a good example of how not to behave around women to attract, like how bad could you possibly be to push women away? The two best characters in Star Wars, first of all, Jar Jar Binks, but Jar Jar Binks is like, they make Dale Carnegie wrote a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Jar Jar Binks could write a book about how to drive people away and make people hate you. That would be the title of his book. How could you completely fuck up everything you ever do and say? But if you want to learn how not to meet women, how not to behave around women, Anakin Skywalker is the best Star Wars character for how not to meet women. How he got Padme to sleep with him is, that girl must have had some weird issues. She must have had something going on in her, because I get the only thing that she probably could see in Anakin that was attractive was that he is a powerful Jedi with the Force, but he did not have any skills when it came to meeting women. He was a fucking retard when it came to meeting chicks. Women who watch these prequels, they hate him. They hate him. I've seen this happen many times because I've watched Star Wars Star Wars is a guy thing. And so every now and then in my life, I meet a girl who's like interested, like, what's this thing? What is all this about Star Wars? And I'm like, okay, let's watch it. And it'll be something fun to do. Well, if you're in a long-term relationship, we'll watch some Star Wars. They always hate Anakin Skywalker. That's all the women. They're like, oh my God, that guy is such a fucking creep. Don't do it. They're always yelling at Padme. They're always like, don't do it. Don't kiss him. What the fuck are you doing? Oh my God, that guy's a fucking creep. Oh, how did you fall for that shit? He's a fucking loser. Get away. He's a fucking creep. I wouldn't even let him in my house. So Anakin's a little boy. He meets her and they're gone. Anakin goes to learn how to be a Jedi. Padme goes back to being Queen Amidala and eventually Senator Amidala, because you go from being a queen to just being a senator in Star Wars. It's fucking weird. But anyway, so after like 10 years apart, they meet for the first time, and Anakin's just this fucking weirdo, and he's talking to Padme. He's like, you haven't changed at all. You're just as beautiful as I remember you. It's like, dude, back off for a minute. That's not the first thing you say to the girl that you're interested in. Like, you just creeped her the fuck out, dude. Like, she doesn't want you as her protector. So anyway, Padme jabs him back. She's like, oh, Annie, you'll always be the little boy I remember from Tatooine. And he's like, he's burned. He's really mad. And so now they're in this like elevator somewhere, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's counseling Anakin, like, and Anakin's like, oh, I can't believe she doesn't like me after, I haven't been able to stop thinking about her for 10 years, and she just brushed me off like it was nothing. And it's like, dude, like, and Obi-Wan's like looking at him like, dude, he wanted to say because you're a fucking creep, but he said, Anakin, you need to stop focusing on the negative and be mindful of your thoughts. That she was actually happy to see them, as in Obi-Wan and Anakin, because they had a past. They went on an adventure together 10 years ago. I'm sure she wasn't attracted to Anakin like, oh, I can't wait to get in his pants. But she was like, she was happy to see them. But Anakin's just like, oh, I should have been able to bang her by now. He was already like angry about how she snubbed him, and he was just focused on the negative. And be mindful of your thoughts. When you're always focused on the negative, what's going to happen? The worst will probably happen. And the whole time he's trying to get with this chick, he's always like bitching about, the Jedi Council, they won't let me be a Jedi Knight, and I'm better than all of them. I'm way better than all of them, and they just don't see it. And he's just bitching and bitching and bitching. It's like, if there ever was a fucking list of what not to do around a girl, it's Anakin Skywalker right there. Like, just watch this fucking creep. And eventually he's so focused on the negative and so focused on losing his girlfriend that he ends up being the reason why she died. And not only that, he ended up becoming, his hatred got to the point, his anger and his hatred got to the point where he turned on everybody. His best friend, Obi-Wan, he already had a robot arm that got cut off by Count Dooku. And he tried to go up against Obi-Wan. It's like, you need to back the fuck off. You're not as good as you think you are, but don't you tell me how good I am. I'm Anakin Skywalker, bitch. And he got his other arm cut off, both of his legs cut off, slid down a fucking sandy beach next to a lava lake because he couldn't claw his way back up with his one robot arm, burned, caught on fire and fucking almost burned to death, got picked up by the Emperor and put in a fucking horrible robot suit to become Darth Vader, where you get to live in that fucking horrible suit for the rest of your life, being a slave to the Emperor. When you could have destroyed the Emperor yesterday, you could have put a stop to that whole fucking thing yesterday if you'd have just shut the fuck up. You'd have your girl, you'd have your kids, you'd have a good life. You wouldn't even have to be a fucking Jedi anymore. You would have destroyed the Emperor before he became the Emperor. You had had it all, but you had to focus on the negative. And your fear of losing your girl led to intense hatred, and that hatred led to the suffering. Exactly what Yoda told you was going to happen happened. So those are some lessons for life in Star Wars, that if I basically turned into Darth Vader because, I let my anger get to the point where my hatred was so intense that I got my fucking arm and my 2 legs cut off, and I was left by the lava lake to burn to death. And now I'm basically a shell of what I was. And, I don't even have a fucking... my bicycle is basically my Darth Vader suit. It's how I get around. I wouldn't be able to survive without it. It keeps me from fulfilling my potential because I can only go about 40 miles away from where I live on any given day, turn around and come back in the same day. Sometimes I have a hard time breathing because I'm tired from all the biking, right? And I gotta take a Bacta I got my Bacta tank waiting for me, but I don't have the Bacta salts for my Bacta. I gotta go soak in a tub just like Darth Vader had to do to ease my weary bones and my pains and aches and pains that come from riding around in my fucking self-propelled Darth Vader bike. So in a lot of ways it's very similar. If I hadn't been pissed off that day, if I didn't let my anger turn into outright hatred, I wouldn't be suffering as much as I am right now. And so that is today's episode of Chaos to Come Back. Maybe you got something out of this, maybe you didn't. If you show up to be a troll, you're out. Fuck off. I'm kicking you off the channel from now on. I'm gonna start doing live streams, and if people just pop into live stream to be a dickhead, out you go. So, but I've still got some things to do before I get there. Between now and then, we'll talk again. Peace out.